Welcome to Liberty and Grace, episode number 3. From West Virginia, I'm Chris Polk.
And from Kentucky, I am Ezekiel Goodwin. Welcome to Liberty and Grace.
All right, everybody, we are going to talk a little bit about voting because this is an election year. And as we are recording here on May 8th, it has just been in the last week or so that Ted Cruz has dropped out, and Donald Trump is the...
People are upset.
Oh, yeah, buddy. They sure are. They're tore up. Donald Trump... God, say that out loud. Donald Trump is the presumptive Republican nominee for President of the United States. Wow, idiocracy comes true. And if you've never seen that movie, go watch it right now.
Go watch it. Get it out. Luke Wilson. I can't remember who else. It is
Terry Crews as
scary.
President. Herbert Mountain Dew Camacho. Oh, it's absolute entertainment gold.
Electrolytes for your crops.
Brondo.
They need the electrolytes.
Yeah. You know, Mike Church, it's funny. Years ago, Mike Church used to be on Sirius XM satellite radio. He would play that clip where they were all sitting around and Luke Wilson's character is saying, yeah, guys, but maybe the Brondo is what's killing the crops. And they're like, but it's got electrolytes. It's what plants crave. Oh, it's just, and I had no idea what the reference was to. I just thought it was funny. And then I went and watched the movie and I'm like, oh my God, this is real. It's like the movie's a prophecy coming true. Okay. So we're going to talk about voting in this episode. And guaranteed, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, you're going to get your feelings hurt. So just get ready because you're going to trash both of your, we're going to trash both your parties. We're going to talk bad about the Republicans and the Democrats. So sorry. I'll just go ahead and put that disclaimer out there. So today Zeke sent me a clip of Glenn Beck, and y'all, it's pure gold.
Yes.
And we're going to play that clip for you, and we're going to have a little fun with Glenn Beck. Now, full disclosure, okay? I've been a truck driver now for 20 years, right? So I started listening to talk radio in 2000 during the Bush-Gore election. And having grown up in a conservative Republican household, I did my duty, and I listened to Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity and Mark Levin. And there was even a point in, I guess it was 2007, 2008, I had a dedicated run where I would deliver to Dollar General stores. And so, man, I went on Amazon and I bought like 100-foot audio cable where I could run the signal from my satellite radio to a boombox in the trailer so I could listen to talk radio while I was unloading Dollar General. And I would start in the morning with Bill Bennett, who I believe was Reagan's drug czar. And then Mike Church, yeah, he had a czar. Mike Church, Glenn Beck, and then listen to Limbaugh because he wasn't on satellite. Sean Hannity, Mark Levin. I would literally listen to 16 hours of talk radio a day.
Oh, that's what happened to you.
Yeah, well, around 2008, 2009, I had to turn it off because I was going to drive my truck off a bridge. It was awful. Now I can't even, I love NASCAR. I'm just a NASCAR nut. I can't even listen to NASCAR talk radio, football sports radio. Well, let me take that back. Paul Feinbaum, I can listen to, but only because of the people that call in. The Alabama fans make every second of it worth it. But I have
Did you ever listen to a political talk guy called Michael Savage?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what a nut.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a few good things, but
oh, yeah.
Why you want to kill yourself when you get done.
Yeah, well, there was a time, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, I would listen to what was her name? Raleigh Jones, Raleigh James, Raleigh something. She would have conspiracy theorists. She was kind of like the female version of George Norrie. And I would occasionally listen to Alex Jones just for the entertainment value, of listening to him go off about the globalists. The globalists are all going to.
The globalists are going to get us all.
The FEMA camps. They've all got to look. There's all the coffins. They're going to put us all in the coffin. Yeah.
You've seen them all.
Yeah. So but I finally had to turn him off too. Thank God. Around that time, I discovered podcasts, and I started listening to Leo Laporte and Tom Woods and just so much more balanced entertainment than these nuts on talk radio. And even Mike Church was the last one. Mike Church introduced me to Tom Woods because he, the guy just loves American history and the Constitution. And so the last 4 years of the Bush administration really drove him away and drove him toward liberty. And, now he's been thrown off of Sirius XM and has his own radio network, but I haven't listened to him in a long time.
I'm excited about what he's starting, though. I think that may have been the best thing to ever happen to him. He's probably got a lot ahead of him now.
Well, and here's a sidebar. I think it's exciting for all of us, even like, Zeke and I are big audiobook listeners. And there's a great series by a guy named Craig Johnson about Walt Longmire. He's a sheriff of Absaroka County, Wyoming. Well, that's where this TV show Longmire came from. A few years, 4 or 5 years ago, it was on, I think, A&E. And it was on for like 3 seasons, had huge ratings, and they just dropped it. Just cut it off. Well, now it's on Netflix, and they're about to do their second season on Netflix. And the author has said, I'm never going back to cable, because I'm on Netflix. I don't have any restrictions. I don't have, I can make episodes as long as I want to. So, the consumers, we're all benefiting because of the internet now that we don't have to deal with these big corporate monsters in media. So, all right, let's get off a tangent here. So, this clip is provided by Right Wing Watch, which I know a bunch of you are going to be like, oh, well, they hate Republicans. Well, yeah, they probably do, and they also love liberals. But the great thing about people like this, as is Breitbart and who else? Daily Caller. I mean, they're the Republican version of that, and so whenever a Democrat says something stupid, they post it on the internet for all of us to see. Well, that's what's been done here with Glenn Beck. Okay, so in this run-up to this election, the Republicans have just been a disaster from day one. Trump comes in, and he's loud and brash and saying all kinds of stuff. And then you have Rubio, Cruz, Rand Paul, I don't think was ever a serious contender. But it was pretty much, I think everyone believed that it was going to be Cruz and or Rubio, that was going to be the thing. That Trump was a clown and he was just putting on a show and he wasn't serious. And I guess that's where they underestimated him. But everyone believed that this was essentially Cruz or Rubio's race to win. God, I hope there's not people that actually took Jeb Bush seriously, but I'm sure there are.
Yeah, that's
so.
Or Christie.
Fat bastard. So, Zeke and I, having grown up in religious Christian conservative homes, all of our peers that are closest to us by association are generally more conservative Republican. And most of them have a faith element to their party politics. And it's been amusing. Now I've got some people in my Facebook friends list. I mean, they are all aboard the Trump train. He's going to make America great again. He's going to build that wall, and he's going to throw out the Muslims.
It'll be huge.
It's going to be huge. Yeah.
Huge. It'll be huge. Let me tell you, it'll be huge. Yes. Make America great again.
Oh, God. So anyway, so it all comes to a head last week in Indiana, and it's not, I mean, seriously, can we honestly think that there's anything special about Indiana at this point? They just happen to be, the last one that made enough of a difference to where Cruz said, okay, I'm out. So Cruz drops out.
Straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah. So Cruz drops out. He sees that he's toast, and it's Trump now, and we're sitting here thinking it's probably going to be Trump and Clinton, because if it's Trump and Sanders, Hillary Clinton will have Bernie executed, and then it'll be, and then she'll have, Bernie's going to have an accident, and then it'll be Trump and Clinton. So,
Oh, about lost it.
so along comes this clip of Glenn Beck. Now, Glenn Beck is a Mormon, is unashamed of his faith. That's fine. I'll give you props for that. And has been now. He's been delivered from alcoholism, and he's still crazy, but he's not an alcoholic anymore. Give you credit for that, Glenn. Good job. Now, I will say this: Glenn Beck is a funny guy. Okay, he is very entertaining. He used to do, probably still does. Used to do this bit called Moron Trivia, where have you ever heard that? They would call random convenience stores and do trivia like they were the local radio station. Hilarious, because let's just be honest, most of your gas station clerks are not the brightest members of our population, and so he would call these people, and it was hysterical. But Glenn has, in my view, Glenn has come unhinged in the last 5 or 10 years, at least the last 5. And he started, prepping, and everybody needs to buy gold, and he's gotten crazy. Sell all your stocks, and he's come unhinged. So we're going to play a clip from YouTube, from the Right Wing Watch blog, and we'll let Glenn dig the hole, and then we'll pile the dirt in on top of it. Yeah. So here we go, Glenn Beck.
When we say we don't know what the Lord has in store for us, I do. Our reaping of what we have sown.
I've always wanted Glenn Beck to tell me what the Lord has in store for me.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
I really think this was the last reckoning for us. This was like, please, guys. It's that old joke. I sent you a boat. I sent you a helicopter.
I sent you Ted
no,
Cruz.
The Lord's going to save me. No, I sent all those. I got it. We just continue to make the wrong choice. So I would look for the things that we're supposed to learn as individuals, but I think the country and all of us as individuals are going to reap what we have sown. And there's nothing that's going to get us out of that. His consequences are eternal. And they are not judgments, they're promises. You do this, and this is what happens. You do this, and this is what happens.
Unless you buy gold.
Yeah.
So we're going to get that. Now, we can still turn to him, which all of us have done, and can say, help us make it easier. Help us learn from it. Help us help other people through it. But I don't think there's a savior running in on a white horse.
Wait a minute. You just said there wasn't a savior, but all we had to do was elect Ted Cruz over Trump, and everything was going to be okay.
I guess
Quite
he's
honestly,
suggesting Ted Cruz was the savior?
Who knows?
We're a petulant child. That we're the child that we have talked to, we have reasoned with, we have put in time out, we have grounded, we have spanked, and the behavior is getting worse. The last thing you do is right before the punishment come in and say, you know what, I'm going to take all it away. That would be a bad dad. That would be a very bad dad.
Petulant child?
Yeah.
It sounds like the Republicans are the petulant child that are whining and crying because their favorite Cruz guy didn't get in.
Yeah. I wanted to look up the word petulant to see if he even knew what it meant.
Know about God? He ain't a bad dad.
So God is not a bad dad. Okay, well let's look, since the foundation of this podcast is grace, liberty, and grace. I'm going to read from Isaiah chapter 54, starting with verse 4. Do not fear, for you will not be ashamed. Neither be disgraced, for you will not be put to shame. For you will forget the shame of your youth, and will not remember the reproach of your widowhood anymore. For your Maker is your husband, the Lord of hosts is his name, and your Redeemer is the Holy One of Israel. He is called the God of the whole earth. Verse 7. For a mere moment I have forsaken you, but with great mercies I will gather you. With a little wrath I hid my face from you for a moment. but with everlasting kindness I will have mercy on you, says the Lord your Redeemer. For this is like the waters of Noah to me. For as I have sworn that the waters of Noah would no longer cover the earth, so have I sworn that I would not be angry with you nor rebuke you. What you have to understand, and if you grew up in the same tradition that I did or that Zeke did, it's very easy to pick out the verses of the Bible that scream out hellfire and brimstone, and God is an evil authoritarian tyrant that's going to come after you. But when you start looking in the Bible in its proper context and its proper historical context, you understand essentially that the message that we've been given over the last many decades is wrong. And I'll put a link to this in the show notes. We had Dr. Lynn Howes at the church this weekend, and just a phenomenal teacher, phenomenal speaker. I'll put a link there. It's gracelifewv.com/Lynn Hiles, and all three of his talks are there. The fear-mongering is what I'll call it, that's being perpetuated by people like Glenn Beck, that says, well, if we don't elect the right guy, that, we're all doomed to, eternal hell. What amazes me about that is the number of people that act like, now I don't know that this is how it would happen, okay, but just go with this picture. You're standing someday before your Lord, and he says, what did you do in my name? And you say, oh, well, Jesus, I voted. Oh, really? So now, did you clothe anybody? Did you feed anybody? Well, no, but I voted for people that said they would do it. Oh, okay. Well, what about children? Did you take care of any children? Did you offer to adopt any children? Did you offer to pay the medical bills of someone contemplating abortion? Oh, no. Well, but I voted. I voted for people that said they were going to get rid of abortion. Okay. All right. Now, being the excellent podcast host that he is, Zeke looked up the definition of petulant. Glenn Beck says we were acting like petulant children. Merriam-Webster says the definition of petulant is having or showing the attitude of people who become angry and annoyed when they do not get what they want.
It sounds like Republicans right about now.
Yeah, that's exactly what that sounds like. Wow. So Glenn Beck lays on all this fear. And I'm sorry. And I even kind of had this attitude even before I was introduced to liberty and grace. If I am to believe the promises of the Bible, the promises that are made to me as a believer, how am I to honestly look at myself in the mirror and say, well, yeah, I trust in God and his promises, but boy, if this guy don't get elected, we're all in trouble. That's illogical to me. That doesn't compute for me. But, even now, I don't operate in fear. I refuse to. I absolutely will. So I'm not scared of Hillary Clinton. I'm not scared of Barack Obama. I'm not scared of Donald Trump. I'm not scared of any of these people because they honestly do not hold my fate in their hands. Now, can they make stupid decisions that cost me problems? Well, yeah. I mean, George Bush did that. It was George Bush's EPA that wrote the rules that were enacted in 2010 on diesel emissions that caused us to lose everything we had. And you can read all about it, AmericanTruckDriver.com/EPA. The whole story's there. But people of faith, and I'm going to even extend that to, Muslims, people that believe in a personal God. Muslims, Jews, and Christians, we're kind of in that subgroup. We should not be scared of politicians. We shouldn't. It's silly. It's so silly. So we looked up some numbers here. I found a 2012 voter turnout report. I'll put that in the show notes. And it basically says, despite an increase of over 8 million citizens in the eligible population, turnout declined from 131 million voters in 2008 to an estimated 126 million voters in 2012 when all ballots are tallied. Some 93 million eligible citizens did not vote. And if you look at the Wikipedia page for the U.S. presidential election in 2012, popular vote, Barack Obama 65,915,796, Mitt Romney 60,933,500. Obama wins with 51.1% to Romney's 47.2%. Now, I know there will be an argument, well, if the 93 million would have showed up, it would have been different. Maybe.
Of course.
Maybe not. Now, of course, the 93 million could have wiped out both of these guys. You know, so this, because so many people love to say, well, a vote for third party is a vote for Hillary Clinton. And I'm sure there are others that say, well, a third party vote is a vote for Donald Trump. No.
I was just told that the other day on Facebook.
A vote for a third party is a vote for a third party, period. Now, I'll let myself be optimistic here for just a second, okay? We've seen some stories here recently that Libertarian Party, of which I am not a member, nor will I ever be a member, okay? But Libertarian Party registrations have gone way up since Cruz dropped out. So
wow,
I'm sure it's possible that a Gary Johnson, an Austin Peterson, or John McAfee could generate enough support, but it's doubtful. Okay, but I'll use the word optimistic. I don't really care which one of them wins. But let's say it's Gary Johnson. He's got political experience. He's been the governor of a state, so he kind of knows how to do the deal. John McAfee's kind of a cool guy, but he's got tattoos and stuff. American people are not going to vote for him. Austin Peterson, I probably like him less than I do Hillary Clinton.
He's scary.
Yeah, because he says he's a libertarian, but I think he's one of these guys that just wants to smoke weed, because he's gone on record and said he thinks the non-aggression principle is stupid. Okay.
Yes.
I don't know how you call yourself a libertarian and say that. There's a Tom Woods episode from probably about a year ago. I'm going to say April of 2015. Tom Woods had Austin Peterson on his show, and they kind of debated. And of course, in my view, Tom wiped the floor with him. But I remember thinking, gosh, what an idiot. So is it possible, is it within the realm of possibilities that a third party could win in 2016? Maybe. The bottom line, is it going to be any different? No. You still got the same EPA. You still got the same FDA. You still got the same USDA. You're going to have the same foreign policy, okay? Because anybody that thinks, and this is not a conspiracy theory, this is just an observation of fact. If you think the president has anything to do with the foreign policy of the United States, you're an idiot. We have got the military-industrial complex is so much bigger than any president has ever been, that one person, no matter what their philosophy is, I mean, I guess it's reasonable to say that Hillary Clinton could get us into World War III easier than any of them. Because Trump is a wild card. There's a great video. I'll try to find it and post it. Reason Magazine did a little video that showed that Trump's positions are no different than any conservative Republican before him, especially when it comes to foreign policy. So they all want to build the wall. They all want to decimate the Middle East. They all want to, regulate the economy. So, there's absolutely no difference. Trump's just loud, and he's not owned by the establishment, so they hate him. I will go on record now saying I will not be voting in the 2016 election. I haven't voted in any of the primaries, and I will not vote in the general. Okay? That is my right. I have the right to abstain. I love the George Carlin line that says if you don't, if you vote, you don't have any right to complain. If you don't vote, you have the right to complain. That's counterintuitive to most people. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to be wasting my time going and voting for one of these professional liars.
Well, we've been trained up ever since our indoctrination camp, that 12-year camp that we go through. We've been indoctrinated that it's your civic duty and right to go and vote, and it's how you make the world a better place.
Yeah,
all that garbage.
Yeah, I loved. I saw a line one day on Facebook that choosing a presidential candidate is like choosing which STD I want.
Yeah.
No thanks. Now. We'll expand on this later in another episode because it's too big. But I will say I believe that there is a biblical case to not vote. I believe
Some
that
people
that's
say
there.
it's an act of aggression, and I think they've got a point.
Yeah. Talk about that for just a second. The voting being an act of aggression.
If you think about what voting means, all right. Well, I'm going to vote, and I'm going to vote for however many people that I can, because you get to vote for your senator, you get to vote for your representative in Congress. There's two of them, Senate and House of Representatives, and you're going to vote for the president. And well, what do you really expect? Well, you expect those people to go to Congress, sit behind their desks, and write down these laws that, usually
that benefits you.
They benefit you, but they're all backed up by a gun.
Right.
If they write a law that says that Chris Polk has to drive a truck that's got EPA DPF filter on it, and Chris doesn't drive that truck, he drives an old clunker, well, then men with guns can come and arrest him and confiscate his property, throw him in jail, and they don't have to let him out. Case in point, there's a fella that died just a few months ago. His name's escaped me. You know who I'm talking about, Chris.
Eric Garner?
No, the fellow that died in prison for not paying taxes.
Oh, Irwin Schiff.
Irwin Schiff spent decades in prison.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't pay his federal income tax.
Right.
So don't, so when you say, well, that'll never happen, nobody's ever going to come and, yes, they will. If you don't follow the rules, if you don't follow the rules that were put together by the men in the room in Congress, that were voted in by you, the American, the good citizen just doing your duty, voted that guy in, that's where they connect the dots, is what I'm getting at. They connect the dots by saying that you voted for a guy to write laws on paper that are enforced by a military or a police force or an FBI or whatever. Basically, you're voting for violence. That's where they draw the line.
Is this an appropriate point for me to talk about getting pulled over this week?
Go right ahead.
Okay, so I'm on my way up to Willington, Connecticut, and just west of Danbury, there's a big construction project. It's been going on for about a year now, and as I slow down, the speed limit's 45, I think. So I'm slowing down as I enter the construction zone, and I look and I see two Connecticut state troopers sitting over to the right. So I'm rolling through the construction zone. I'm in the right lane, doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And then I see the trooper coming up the left lane behind me. Well, he gets right to the end of my trailer and he slows down. And that's usually the universal sign for you're about to get pulled over. So then he pulls in behind me, and I'm coming up on an exit. I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe he's just going to this exit. Well, he doesn't get off. So he keeps following me. And so we get to the end of the construction. He ducks out, throws on the lights, pulls me over. Comes up to the truck, and he says, when you passed me back there, it looked like you didn't have your seatbelt on. And I said, no, sir, I absolutely had my seatbelt on. He goes, are you sure? And I said, oh, yeah, because I got a seatbelt ticket in Alabama in 2012 that cost me $900 to get rid of. So, yes, I absolutely had my seatbelt on. He says, okay, well, so I gave him my paperwork. He goes back to the car. And he's back there 8 or 10 minutes. And I started to feel this anxiety build up in me.
Yes.
Because I'm thinking, okay, well, I've not done anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with my truck. which he's not inspecting my truck. He's just doing a paperwork check. But what if somebody's hit the wrong button on a computer somewhere? What if somebody with a name similar to mine somewhere has done something and numbers have been transposed, and all of a sudden there's a felony warrant out for me that I have no clue about. Or somebody's hit a wrong button and my license has been suspended and I don't know it. And I'm sitting there thinking, I should not be fearful right now. I'm not afraid the cop's going to come kill me. I'm not afraid he's going to find something, that I've got illegal contraband, that there's something wrong with my truck, that I've been I don't have any fear that I'm about to be caught doing something, air finger quotes here, wrong.
Uh-huh.
I'm afraid that somebody has made a mistake that could cost me my job, could cost me my freedom. So the cop comes up, finally, relief. He hands me my paperwork back, and I sign the little inspection form. And I said, listen, I want to ask you a question. He said, okay. And I said, if you were about to give a truck driver a warning for something, and the driver said, with all due respect, sir, I don't want a warning, I want a citation. I said, what would be your response? And he was like, well, I would tell him he's crazy. And he goes, why in the world, if I'm going to give you a warning, would you want a citation? And I said, well, I can explain that to you. And I said,
glad you asked.
I'm glad you asked. In 2010, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration created a program called CSA 2010. What is it? It's something about safety and accountability. And now truck drivers are scored on pretty much everything they do. And if you get a warning for speeding, well, you get the same number of points on your CSA score as if you were getting a ticket for speeding or tailgating or some mechanical violation. The points are the same for a warning as they are for a citation. The difference is I can't fight a warning, but I can fight a citation. And he looks at me and he goes, no, that's not right. You can fight. And he holds up the paper and he points at it. You can contest anything on this piece of paper. And I said, sure I can on the state level. But once the federal government gets a hold of it, there's no recourse. There's no body. It's not like the DMV or some other system where you can go, or your credit score. That's the best example. If there's something wrong on your credit score, well, you can file a claim with the credit reporting agency and say, hey, this is wrong. And you can give them documentation and they remove it. Well, with CSA 2010, it's not possible. Once it's on your record, it's there. You can't get rid of it. Now, if you get a citation and you go to court and you pay the fines and the court costs and the lawyer, as I did with the seatbelt ticket that cost me $900 in 2012, it was dismissed. And I showed him I've got a little pink 3-ring binder that I keep in my backpack with me everywhere I go. And I said, sir, if you'll look here is the dismissal order from the judge in Alabama dismissing the seatbelt charge. It no longer exists. But I can't get Ohio or West Virginia to accept the order from the judge in Alabama. As far as they're concerned, I still have a seatbelt ticket from 2012, which almost, interestingly enough, almost barred me from entrance to Canada because it showed up as a DUI. The lunacy of this stuff.
Word.
Yeah, and they eventually gave me my credentials, and I can go to Canada with no problem. But I'm still fearful. I mean, what if I go to Canada and somebody makes this mistake, and then I'm in a foreign country? Canada won't let you in if you have a felony. Well, if somebody screws something up on my record and accidentally puts some felony that doesn't belong to me, and I'm in Canada and I get caught, I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail. My truck's not going to make any money. My family's not going to receive any money. And then, imagine the hassle and the cost that I'm going to have to incur to try to undo that situation.
Yeah.
I love the meme that I've seen on Facebook that shows the SWAT team about to break into a door. And it says, knock, knock, who's there? Freedom. open the door. Freedom is here. We're just here to serve and protect you with grenades and rocket launchers and door rams. So this is, people don't like to think of voting as an act of war, as an act of violence, but it is. Now, if you're voting as to what color to flowers to put out in front of City Hall, okay, whatever. Okay, but when you're voting to take away someone's rights, when you're voting to take other people's money, I'm looking at you, Bernie Sanders supporters. When you're voting to steal from people, or when you're voting, I'm looking at you Republicans now, when you're voting to go over and decimate countries in the Middle East for your supposed security, when the reality is you've got a better chance of walking out your front door, tripping over a poodle, getting struck by lightning on your way to pick up the winning lottery ticket than you are to be killed by a terrorist. But yet, we've got to vote for freedom. We've got to send freedom to the Middle East. Hey, guys, if that's your idea of freedom, I don't want it. I'm out. Thank you. But have a nice day. I have no interest in your brand of freedom. So, I just went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but that's okay. You got any closing thoughts?
No, well, you just showed an
this up?
example. Yeah, that wasn't much of a tangent. You really just showed an example of just one law, one thing that people voted for. Because CSA in 2010, that was discussed and brought up, and people said, "Oh my goodness, there's all this problem. There's accidents and these terrible truck drivers, and fear and scaring, and quick, just vote over here. Give this new organization the commercial."
Well, you know what though. But the sad thing is nobody did vote for CSA 2010. That wasn't a George Bush or Al Gore program. That was one of these unelected bodies that have no accountability whatsoever to the voting public. We can't vote these people out. We just have to wait for them to get fired, to get caught with a hooker and 2 tons of coke in a hotel room somewhere, and then they'll reluctantly resign, because it tells how much they love their spouse, or they're wrapped up in some scandal, or till they quit and go get a job with a lobbying firm where they'll make $1 million a year. But let me touch one more thing on this seatbelt deal, okay? Because this is a perfect illustration. Okay, so I broke the law, right? I got caught without my seatbelt. And Alabama State Trooper, within his rights as a law enforcement officer, gives me a citation, okay? Immediately, I get on the phone, and I find a local attorney, and the guy says, all right, be $650. Okay? So I pay this guy $650, and literally, this is what he did. He goes and has lunch with the prosecutor, right? And he says, listen, I've been hired to represent this truck driver over this seatbelt ticket. So he takes the prosecutor out to lunch, and the prosecutor says, okay, well, I'll submit it to the judge and we'll get it dismissed. Okay, the fine, I don't remember the exact numbers, but it's close. $211, I believe is what it was. That was the fine. Okay, so I could have just walked in and paid the $211 and been done with it, and this ticket would have stayed on my record. Which
is still insane for a seatbelt when the rest of it, most cars was $30.
Yeah. Okay, or I pay the lawyer $650, and the judge says, okay, well, I'll dismiss this. Just pay the court costs. Guess how much the court cost was? $211.
Oh, my word.
It was the exact same amount. So what they told me, okay, this is what in reality happened. Well, no, we don't care about the seatbelt. We need your money, right? Because once they got my money, well, they didn't need the citation anymore. They had my money. So they got away with almost $900 of my money between the lawyer and the court. Well, where's my punishment? I broke the law, so I should have this on my record so other people can see what a terrible lawbreaker I am. I don't follow the rules. Well, no, they just dismissed it. Here you go. Stamp dismissed on it. Mailed me a copy. I gave them $211, and we're done. You know? So it's not about safety. It's about money and control. That's what it's about. Because if you think for a minute that you're protected from a rogue, what was that? Road safety? Yeah, rogue operators. Remember that? Yeah. You can go listen to the American Truck Driver podcast, and I went off on that guy. But rogue operators, basically saying that truck drivers that don't want to have every single minute minute of their life regulated by the federal government are now rogue operators. Well, now, they didn't care about me being a rogue operator because once I gave them the money, they dismissed the charge. What's that tell you? That tells you that the law means nothing. The money is what they're after. That's what they need. Okay,
they're operating just like highway robbery, thugs, gangsters, like just using the law as a tool, like a gun, to threaten you with.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so let's wrap it up on that. You got anything else?
Well, I'm just thinking, who am I going to vote for in November? Boy, I need to think about this. Well, I'm going to call Glenn Beck. I bet he'll tell me.
You know what? I'm going to rescind my earlier statement. I will vote. I'm going to write in. I'm going to go in to the booth, and I'm going to write in Dale Earnhardt Jr. for president 2016 because Dale Jr. will take care of me. Dale Jr. will do what's right by me. Dale Jr. is a good and honest person, and so it's Dale Earnhardt Jr. 2016. That's who I'm voting for. Or right, Vermin Supreme.
Don't forget to hit us up on Twitter, hit our Facebook page, share the podcast, tell people about it.
Email questions.
Email us some questions. We'd love to answer them if we can. If we don't know, we promise we will just tell you, hey, we don't know.
Or we'll tell you to go listen to Tom Woods and he'll give you the answer. Yeah. Twitter.com/Liberty and Grace. Facebook.com/Liberty and Grace. Email is libertygracepodcast@gmail.com. That'll do it for episode 2. We will see you next time.